CeeLo Green is an artist who is widely known for his singles Forget You and Crazy, both of which were certified platinum, topped the Billboard charts, and both won him Grammys. After nearly 20 years of varying success in the music industry, CeeLo Green had reached crazy heights, doing performances with the Navy, getting his own TV show, and becoming a judge on The Voice. But just a couple of years after all of these tracks, he was involved in a controversy coupled with a few pretty disturbing now deleted tweets that for the most part ended his professional music career. And this is how he got here. Now, I do want to clarify, CeeLo Green is still very respected by many because he did have a very impressive career over the past couple of decades, but his actual music career as a solo artist really suffered greatly from the controversies and tweets that I'm going to be talking about. So you guys will see what I mean when we continue. Also, super quick, I did want to say that by the time this video is live, I will have launched my second channel, Maddie Squared. So if you guys want to check that out, feel free. I'll be doing more random opinionated videos and just more fun video essays maybe I didn't think were fit for the main channel. There's a bunch of stuff I plan on doing over there, really anything I feel like, and then I also want to do some live streaming, but it's all going to be music related still. I'm not going to stray away from that. So I think it'll be fun if you guys are music enjoyers. If you're a fan of the channel, feel free to support by checking that out as well, and I promise the videos will only get better going forward. I think you guys will like it, but that's enough yapping, so just check that channel out, link in the description. But let's continue with the video. If you don't know much about CeeLo Green, you might not know how legendary and well respected he actually is. So much so that even after his major controversies, it's hard for me to say he fully ruined his career because he still is able to lock in with big artists to this day. And all of this is thanks to his work with local Atlanta artists in the early 90s. CeeLo got connected with a collective called the Dungeon Family, a legendary group that if you have not heard of, you need to. Over the years, they worked with artists like Outkast, TLC, Killer Mike, CeeLo's group Goodie and many more. I mean, because of these connections, CeeLo was even hanging around Pac and Big back in the day. Fun fact, the late and great producer Rico Wade was the guy who owned the house they recorded in, or I think technically it was his mom's house, but same difference. More specifically, they recorded in the basement though, and that's why it was called The Dungeon. And an even funner fact is that Rico Wade is Future's older cousin, and really helped Future get his start in the music industry when he was coming up. That's why on Future's latest project, Mixtape Pluto, the one that came out a couple weeks ago, at least when I'm recording this, the cover art is the Dungeon Family house. A little bit of a tangent, but I thought you guys might like those facts. Anyways, like I said, CeeLo also formed the group Goodie in 1991, which was heavily intertwined with the Dungeon Family. They got some big buzz after featuring on some Outkast songs, and then released their debut album Soul Food in 1995. This album had tons of critical acclaim and was certified gold. They had tracks hitting the Hot 100 and they were going crazy. A few years later, they released their second album Still Standing, and then after that, their third album World Party, both of which also went gold. CeeLo undoubtedly was one of the most notable members from this group because of his amazing vocals, and also because he had a few more successful ventures outside of the group. He took a break from Goodie after their third album, hopping on songs with people like Lauryn Hill and Santana. Then he got connected with Danger Mouse and created the duo Gnarles Barkley, and together they released their debut and hit single Crazy. This track went crazy. I'm not gonna say that. This track was huge, peaking at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was certified 6 times platinum, and they even won a Grammy for it. It's funny, but a lot of people still don't even know that this was actually CeeLo Green who was making this song because he used an alias. Their debut album was also certified platinum. This whole time he had been releasing some solo music as well, but it wasn't as big as Gnarles Barkley, at least yet. In 2010, CeeLo released his single F You or Forget You, which was the radio version. This song was a huge hit, as I'm sure most of you know, and like I said in the intro, it went multi-platinum, hit number 1 on the Billboard, and won him a Grammy. He followed up with his ironically named album The Lady Killer, which was very successful. This album also had the track Fool For You, which won him 2 Grammys. By this point, CeeLo was getting big as a solo artist and started doing all the big things that solo artists do to solidify themselves as a household name. He went on SNL, he was on The Voice for a few seasons, he performed at the WWE Super Slam, he popped up on the show Parenthood, he did some stuff with Nickelodeon, and he was even in Hotel Transylvania, which was one of my favorite movies as a kid. He even did the Super Bowl halftime show with Madonna in 2012, but in my opinion, being in Hotel Transylvania is a little bit cooler. And I'm pretty sure his spot on The Voice helped boost his popularity even more. I personally know some people who only know him because of FU and The Voice.
We look like we just got married. Did you just say you look like we just got married?
Well, I'm just saying, like the color coordination, like we had a
yeah.
reception, like, you know, we're on the way.
The point is, CeeLo is huge, had an extremely long, successful, and decorated music career, and was beloved by fans. There was nothing not to like about CeeLo. He was kind, likable, talented, respectful, funny, and overall seemed like a great guy. That was until something happened that was so controversial he lost nearly a third of his fan base. On October 30th of 2012, CeeLo Green was accused of SA by a woman who he went out on a date with. The accuser said that CeeLo slipped ecstasy into her drink on a date at a restaurant and then assaulted her. She said that he spiked her drink on a dinner date, and the next thing she knew, she woke up to find herself naked in a bed with the singer in his hotel. The allegations were very serious, and it caused a bunch of problems for CeeLo's career at the time, but it took the LAPD a year to investigate it. While they were investigating, TMZ asked CeeLo about it right after the accusations were made, and he said he hadn't been to the restaurant in 3 months and said nothing ever happened there or anywhere else. And while all of this was going on, CeeLo quietly left The Voice. He said he wasn't fired or asked to leave, instead saying, "It easily and quickly became a job. Very, very obligating, taxing, and tiring." He hardly spoke on the situation, but after like a year almost, he decided to start speaking about it in interviews.
But CeeLo, I remember about a year ago, there was a really crazy story that was put out there. And I was like, why is this happening to my man CeeLo? And it was a woman that was accusing you of dating. She said she had a date to get sushi, and then you slipped ecstasy in her drink, and I didn't hear anything. So since we have you here, what's the truth behind that?
Well, let me tell y'all about it, because nobody ever asked me about it, you know, and I'm glad that it's over, because, you know, unfortunately, it's not unlawful for press to put out a half truth, you know what I'm saying, and not a whole story. And first of all, I ain't got to nobody, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, I ain't got to really battle or abuse nobody. I promise you this, you know what I mean? I coined a phrase called a dime's worth of dignity. I believe that when you're making a whole dollar, they want a dime's worth of your dignity. My career had been too clean. You know what I'm saying? And I really think that this situation was imposed upon me, you know, to seek to assassinate my character. And it could have possibly ruined my livelihood completely. Just to vindicate that, like, I would never harm any woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and also logistically, ecstasy does not make you pass out. That's where you fucked up right there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like.
CeeLo also mentioned that he had a few brand deals and sponsorships that fell through due to these accusations. But he was still under investigation, so it could be wrong to make assumptions without proof. That was until about a month later, when the judge came to a verdict. The judge said that CeeLo would not face these sexual assault charges because there was not enough evidence to take it to court. So CeeLo was only charged with furnishing a controlled substance. He said that their encounter together was consensual, but was later charged with spiking her drink. In August of 2014, CeeLo Green pleaded no contest to the charge, which basically means he doesn't admit or deny the charges, but accepts the punishment. As Patrick J. McLean's blog says, basically it's a way for the defendant to avoid admitting guilt while acknowledging that the prosecution has enough evidence to likely convict them. CeeLo did admit that he shared ecstasy with the female, but he did not slip her the drug. He was sentenced to 3 years of probation, 360 hours of community service, and was ordered to complete 52 AA meetings.
The idea that you could drug somebody unknowingly, and I don't know what his punishment was for it. No jail time,
I think
right?
it was a 3-year suspended sentence, right?
Unbelievable.
Something ridiculous.
Realistically speaking, this charge wasn't the worst thing in the world. They didn't charge him for sexual assault, and he just said that he shared the drugs with the girl. And like I said, he had so much goodwill with his fans from his insane career over the years that they probably would have let him get away with that if it weren't for CeeLo taking to Twitter to defend himself. And I kind of lied in the title because there was 2 main tweets that people had issues with, but one sounded better, so that's what I went with. Whatever, these are the 2 tweets that ruined his career. CeeLo Green said, "Women who have really been remember," which he followed up with by saying, if someone is passed out, they're not even with you consciously. So with implies consent. That last tweet didn't really make much sense, but it seemed like he was trying to say if they're unconscious, consent is implied, or vice versa. I don't know. I really don't know what he was trying to say. But these tweets were awful, and definitely not the way to defend yourself when you just barely escaped charges. There were a few other ones that weren't discussed as much where he was replying to people saying things like, when someone breaks in a home, there's broken glass. Where is your plausible proof anyone was raped? Also, let me prepare you for another insane statement I didn't see too many people mentioning, but he said, so if I tried but did not succeed, but the person said I did, then what really happened? I can't believe that's a real tweet. If I tried but did not succeed, but they said that's so unreal. All of these tweets were promptly deleted, but the damage had already been done. He even briefly deleted his Twitter account after this. A few hours later, he reinstated his Twitter account and apologized, saying, I truly and deeply apologize for the comments attributed to me on Twitter. Those comments were idiotic, untrue, and not what I believe. I just know his PR team was spam calling him in horror after those tweets went up. He also made a statement eventually to BuzzFeed saying, let me first praise God for exoneration, fairness, and freedom. Secondly, I sincerely apologize for my comments being taken so far out of context. I only intended on a healthy exchange to help heal those who love me from the pain I had already caused from this. Please forgive me, as it was your support that got me through this to begin with. I never condone the harm of any women. Thank you. I'd like to point out the part where he says, I sincerely apologize for my comments being taken so far out of context, because this comment really upset a lot of people. One person pointed out the absurdity of this by rephrasing his statement saying, I apologize for y'all taking my insensitive tweets out of context. He then made a statement to the Sunday Times in which he said, I do realize in retrospect that it was highly sensitive, what I tweeted, highly irresponsible. It did stem from emotion causing some involuntary action, and I do believe that, maybe just possibly, we could give each other a margin for human error. And in those instances, I do realize I'm an artist, that I'm flawed, and sometimes, you don't think. I was most certainly not thinking, not considering whom I might offend. And to those many people, however many or however few, I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize again. But by this point, the damage had been done. I mean, if he didn't go on Twitter and just stayed quiet, it could have been avoided. That's why I'm saying that the tweet really is what ruined his career, because the tweets had way more consequences than the actual charges. But when you barely get away with SA charges, then get charged with spiking a drink, and then go on Twitter making posts that a lot of people felt like were defending, you gotta realize how that makes you look. Now, it doesn't really matter how much people like you in general, because saying wild stuff like this is definitely going to hurt your career. And in CeeLo's case, that is 100% what happened. Following this, he lost about a third of his 2 million Twitter followers. According to BuzzFeed, he had a reality TV show coming up called CeeLo Green's The Good Life, which was canceled after this controversy. To be fair, the network said it was canceled due to the low ratings of previous episodes, but let's be real, that was probably a cop-out. CeeLo was also dropped from a ton of festivals.
Sense of how many music festivals have banned him or have dropped him from their shows. There were festivals in DC and also the Louisiana Festival, also the Gretna Heritage Festival, and Freedom Live, which is run by the Navy. And so Freedom Live did release a statement. I want to read it to you guys. They write that unfortunately, one of the performers we signed for the JBAB Freedom Live show on 20th of September recently posted comments on social media that we consider to completely be inconsistent with Navy core values. Regardless of intent or context, the lack of sensitivity towards an issue that is one of the greatest challenges facing our Navy is unacceptable. As a result, we have made the decision to pull CeeLo Green from the Freedom Live event on September 20th.
And worst of all, CeeLo Green lost his role in Hotel Transylvania too. But on the bright side, he was replaced by Michael Key, who honestly is way cooler, in my opinion. I love Michael Key. He's awesome. Apparently, because of all of this and the public perception of him, he even wanted to name his next album Girl Power, but later landed on Heart Blanche. To be fair, the album and one of the singles charted, although not too high. Beginning with this album, his numbers began slowly declining over the next decade or so with every release. However, despite all of the brand deals, performances, shows, and everything else he had lost, CeeLo still had something going for him. To this day, people love CeeLo Green. Like on one of his most recent interviews, a few fans said things like, "You can't be from Atlanta and not respect CeeLo, one of the most humble, giving, soulful spirits in the city. CeeLo Green does not look old. He never ages at all, and that smile is contagious." It seems like many people either forgot about his crazy comments or brushed them off because he built up so much goodwill with the public over the years. And because of his impressive resume from over the years and all the nostalgia attached to him, a lot of people still care about and respect his career despite the controversy. And while his solo music career did seem to go downhill after these comments, he did see a little bit of success in other areas. He featured in Teen Titans Go in 2017, he was on The Masked Singer in 2020, and even went to the Grammys in 2016 wearing all gold.
Oh, that's somebody else altogether, man.
Is that the new you?
I've been hearing about the guy. I saw a lot of the trouble he's making out here, man.
Is that a real gold suit you think he was wearing at the Grammys?
I don't know, bro. I wasn't there.
I mean, it's possible that wasn't him.
No, that was him.
Listen, it's possible that wasn't him. That could have been a CeeLo-inspired suit, and he could have sent somebody to wear it. We don't necessarily know if he was inside of it.
This was actually him, and it was part of this thing he was doing where he was trying to introduce a new alter ego called Gnarly Davidson. And he even did this PR stunt before that where he had his phone explode in his face to help launch this new character. Then he used all of that to release the song F Me I'm Famous, which didn't really help his reputation as it was a song about telling a girl to have sex with him because he was famous, or at least that's what it sounded like. Someone literally said in response to this track, CeeLo must really live in his own bubble. Why would you make a song like this when the last thing the world remembers you for is a charge? Not to mention, the song sucks ass. Sad day for the Dungeon Fam fans. Like I said though, despite all this crazy stuff, there is still a group of people out there who like him. He's still even working with Goodie Mob on occasion, Andre 3K, and people along those lines, along with newer artists as well. He was featured on Mac Miller's The Divine Feminine, 2 songs on Astroworld, Gone Gone, Thank You by Tyler, and more. Although most of his features nowadays are background vocals. So it goes to show that because of his overall character, aside from the controversy of course, and his success in the music industry over the years, people still are cool with CeeLo. Of course, in my opinion, this controversy heavily damaged his professional music career. I mean, you guys saw how much he lost after posting those tweets. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Because of his good reputation prior, does he deserve to be excused from these comments and just move on with his career and life as normal? Or do you think we should still be looking at CeeLo with a little bit of a side eye? Let me know in the comments below. On a very similar note, Goldlink was an artist who was on the come up and killing it until he made one post about Mac Miller that many fans deemed disrespectful, and that one post destroyed his career. So if you want to learn more about that, feel free to check out the video that's on screen right about now. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. This has been Matty Balls. I appreciate you. Leave a like, subscribe, blah 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 blah, and I'll see you guys next time.